should not be given a chance to contribute back to this country. Well, thank goodness we have Hillary Clinton in our corner. Madam Secretary, we stand with you because you have always stood with us. We stand with the leader who values the Constitution, who will champion immigration reform, who will ensure that we raise the minimum wage, who is the most qualified candidate to run for president in a generation. And who will inspire Americans to be our best, a nation of dreamers and optimists. Now, there's a lot of talk about a lot of new folks joining the Democratic Party and the youth vote. Well, look around. Young people are supporting Hillary Clinton. And let me say, like all of you, I am with her. Secretary Clinton, thank you for coming to Long Beach tonight. Secretary Clinton, thank you for fighting for us. We know she will fight for us in the White House. So my friends, are you ready? My friends, please give a huge round of applause for the next President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Do the right song. My power's turned off. Starting right now, I'll be scarred. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's waiting and too deep. Sailing too deep.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll tell you what, it is great to be back in Long Beach. And to be introduced by your young, dynamic mayor, Mayor Garcia. Thank you so much. I also want to thank Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom for being here. State Senator Ricardo Lara, State Senator Kevin DeLeon, and I want to thank the entire Long Beach City College team led by President Oakley. I want to thank Busy Phillips, Alice Goff, Eric Bauman, and Samantha Ronson. Thank you all for being with me. I got to tell you, according to the news, we are on the brink of a historic, unprecedented moment. But we still have work to do, don't we? We have 6 elections tomorrow, and we're going to fight hard for every single vote, especially right here in California. So I'm asking each and every one of you, how many of you have already voted by mail? How many of you have a ballot at home on your kitchen counter? So you can send it in tonight, or even better, go to the polls tomorrow and take your family and your friends. You know, I have a special place in my heart for Long Beach. Some of you remember that when my husband was president, he worked closely with your then mayor, Mayor O'Neill, and your leadership in Long Beach. He was a good partner for Long Beach as you began really moving into the future, revitalizing Long Beach. We are proud of what Long Beach has become, and I want to be a good partner for this city. I am so excited by all the progress that you've made here, and I know that we can do even better. I'm a progressive who likes to get things done. So here's what I want to get done: more good jobs with rising incomes. More jobs in infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, our tunnels, our ports, our airports, our water systems. I want us to bring manufacturing back, and if we make it here in America, we will put people back to work, and we should, because we often invent it, so why have it made somewhere else? We can use that great port here to be exporting as well as importing. And we're going to fight climate change. I have a plan to install 500 million more solar panels by the end of my first term, and enough clean, renewable energy to power every home by the end of my second term. We're going to have the leading number of clean, renewable energy jobs, because some country is going to be the clean energy superpower. I think it's going to be either China, Germany, or us. I want it to be us, don't you? In addition to growing the economy, we're going to make it fairer. We're going to raise the national minimum wage like you've done here in California. We're going to do more to help small businesses that create most of the new jobs in America. And we are finally going to guarantee equal pay for women's work. And I got to tell you, this is not a woman's issue. If you have a mother, a wife, a daughter, or a sister who's working, it's your issue too. We're going to get family incomes up, and that's one of the fastest ways of doing it. So when I think about what we can do together, I'm really excited. I'm tired of Donald Trump. For many reasons, but I'm tired of him downgrading America. I'm tired of him, really speaking ill of our country. I'm tired of him talking about how we're just a third-rate country. I don't know what country he lives in. There's no other place in America that has more people working harder right now. So let's get real here for a minute. We've got work to do. That is absolutely true. But there's nothing we can't do if we make up our minds to do it. I want us to have an education system that provides a first-class education to every child, no matter what zip code that child lives in. I want to work with our teachers, our educators, and our other school staff to give our kids the best possible start. In order to do that, we've got to begin with early childhood education so that when they get to school, kids are ready to learn. And we are going to finally get the cost of college affordable for families. I want to make it possible that you do not have to borrow a penny to pay for tuition at any four-year public college or university. And we are going to help you pay down your debt and pay it off so you can get out from under that burden. I'm going to defend the Affordable Care Act, but I want to improve it. We're going to get the cost down: premiums, co-pays, deductibles, prescription drug costs. And then there are two issues that I want to tackle with your help: mental health and addiction. I've met too many people traveling the country over this past year who have told me the stories of their mental health challenges or of someone in their family or a loved one. I've heard too many parents and grandparents talk about losing a younger person to addiction, to an overdose. We've got to confront this and deal with it. More services, more resources for treatment, for recovery. People do not belong in jail if they have a mental health or substance abuse problem. Now, when you talk about what most people are concerned with, it comes down to their families, their lives, their futures. So that's why jobs is number one, education and healthcare. But we've got more work to do besides that. I'm going to introduce in my very first days as president comprehensive immigration reform when they pass to citizenship. I'm going to build on the good work President Obama has done, for which he doesn't get enough credit, by the way, for all that he's done on the economy and healthcare. But in particular, I'm going to build on the work he started with criminal justice reform and ending over-incarceration. We're going to provide more diversion programs, more second chance programs. I'm also going to do everything I can to defend a woman's right to make her own health care decisions. And that includes defending, not defunding, Planned Parenthood. And I will defend marriage equality and work against discrimination. We are going to defend voters' rights, and I will appoint Supreme Court justices who will overturn Citizens United. I'm going to defend workers' rights and the right to organize and bargain collectively. And I am going to take on the gun lobby for common sense gun safety reforms. I'll tell you, just about everything I've just said, Donald Trump disagrees with. So we're going to have quite an election, aren't we? I personally can't wait to debate him. But you know, when you vote tomorrow, you're not just voting for the next president, you're voting for the next commander-in-chief. And I gave a speech in San Diego a few days ago that outlined all the reasons why I believe he is not qualified to be president, and he is temperamentally unfit to be commander-in-chief. I have to confess, when I was preparing that speech and going through it, even I would say, he really said that? But in fact, he did. He's attacked our closest allies. He has praised dictators. He has said we ought to pull out of NATO, our premier defense alliance. He has casually suggested he doesn't care if other countries, including Saudi Arabia, get nuclear weapons. He's advocated a return to torture. He said that he would order our military to kill the families of suspected terrorists, which is an international war crime. Now, I know that foreign policy is not always a big issue in the presidential election, but here's what I want you to know and understand. That's, just ignore that. What I want you to know and understand is this. So here's what I want you to understand. You know, when you're in the Situation Room in the White House, the hard decisions are the ones that get to the president. If they're not hard, somebody else decides them along the way. And when we had intelligence that we perhaps knew where bin Laden was, I was part of the small group to analyze that intelligence and to work with my colleagues to make a recommendation to the president. It was personal to me because I was a senator from New York on 9/11. So I was there at Ground Zero 24 hours after we were attacked, and I said that I would do whatever I could to bring bin Laden to justice for the murder of 3,000 innocent people in our country. So we went over all the intelligence, and finally the president said, after days of this, that he wanted each one of us to go around the table and give a recommendation. The people at that table were experienced, expert, everybody I respected. But each person had a slightly different take. Some people said, you know what? The intelligence is not strong enough, we shouldn't act. Others said, you know what? It's strong enough for a missile attack, but not to send in special forces. And then the third option was, it's strong enough and we have to send in special forces because otherwise we'll never know whether or not we got them. I was in that third category, and I recommended that to the president. But here's what I want you to understand. The president makes the decision. So when he said he was going to retire, take all of his notes with him to go off and deliberate, it was his decision. He came back the next day and said he was going to order the SEAL team. It was as crisp and courageous a decision as I've seen because it was a risky one. So when the day came and we were all crowded into that little Situation Room watching what we could see on the monitors, something happened. Those of you who saw the movie, maybe you read about it. One of the helicopters clipped its tail going into the courtyard of the compound. That meant it was disabled. So here's what the SEAL team did. After they fought their way in, after they killed the bodyguards, after they killed bin Laden's adult son and then confronted bin Laden and killed him, they knew they were going to have to blow up that helicopter because we could not afford to leave it with all of the advanced technology there. Seconds were passing by. People were waking up around there. This is a military garrison town. It's the equivalent of where our West Point is. So every second counted. But you know what those SEALs did? They took all those women and children to safety. They let them out of that compound before they blew up that helicopter. That's what Donald Trump doesn't understand. That is honor. That is a representation of the values of the American military, the American people, and our country. So there is so much at stake, not just for America, but for the world in this election. And the final point I would ask you to consider is how we're going to unify our country. You know, Abraham Lincoln said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And like so many things, he was right about that. And what we've got to figure out how to do is begin actually listening to each other and respecting each other. Unlike Donald Trump, I don't think I have all the answers. If you want to vote for somebody who you think has all the answers, well, you've got Donald. He said when asked who his advisors were on foreign policy, he said, well, I listen to myself because I have a very good brain. Also, my other favorite, I can't let it go. He was asked about his foreign policy experience. He said, well, he had taken the Miss Universe contest to Moscow. But my point is this. We've got to listen and learn from each other. No one person has all the answers. That's why it's so important we have a conversation in America about how we're going to get things done, move us forward, lift us up. We are stronger together. And I will go anywhere, anytime to seek common ground. I'll talk to anybody. I did as First Lady. I did as a Senator. I did as Secretary of State. And I will certainly do that as President. But I can't do any of this without your help. I need you to turn out tomorrow. Get everybody you can to go vote tomorrow. Make a very clear statement. We are repudiating Donald Trump. We are getting ready for the fall election. We're going to defeat him. If you will vote for me, I will work for you. I will fight for you. And together we will create the future America deserves. God bless you all.